It's funny when someone contracts the disease, the narrative is always, well, no no medication is perfect and it's going to stop you. And this is typically the argument that I get from even medical personnel. And I'm like, they're like, it stops the spread. And they're like, well, yeah, but look at these people over here that are testing positive. And they're like, oh, well, no one said it was 100%. No one said it was 100%. But the CDC and the FDA most recently said that there was a 91% efficacy of causing you not to become infected. You had both doctors from the FDA literally on the live approval, where they were live talking about the approval and why they went through the approval and what does it mean for a person who takes it. Are you just going to have mild symptoms? Where you might go into the hospital, but you're not going to have these severe sort of cases. And that's literally what they said, was that you have a 91% chance of not being infected.
Been our top priority. Based on the results from the clinical trial, the vaccine was 91% effective in preventing COVID-19 disease.
Reiterate that this milestone in the fight against COVID-19 has been accomplished by a group of committed public health professionals who have been guided by science in everything that they do and who've worked tirelessly over the past months for everyone's benefit. The FDA's evaluation of this biologics license application was incredibly thorough, and the public can trust that the data evaluated by the FDA on the vaccine's safety, effectiveness, and quality meet the agency's rigorous, globally recognized standards.
But then when you look at other areas and when you look at other people, some people start to shrug their shoulders and wonder if they're being told all of the information. And of course, most recently was Joe Rogan, and now Oscar De La Hoya, who is vaccinated. He's double vaccinated, double jabbed, I should say. And this is his testimony in the hospital. He's currently hospitalized, tested positive for COVID. He's on a telemetry unit. You can see the telemetry monitor up here, and you can hear directly from him.
I mean, what are the chances of me getting COVID? I've been taking...
Well, according to the FDA, you are 91% chance of not getting it. So that's good. That's a good question. Of course, that's going through his mind as he's sitting there, like, so weird. They told me safe and effective, 91% or 93%, or whatever it was when he took it. The numbers have, of course, changed. I think originally coming out of Israel, it was like 95% effectiveness at you not contracting the disease. And so depending upon when he took it, he's probably like, damn, like, what were the odds? Like, the odds are so small. Like, how did I end up getting it and becoming sick enough to the point where he had to be hospitalized? Now, thankfully, of course, as you can see, he's not using oxygen, which is good.
Care of myself,
and he says he's taking care of himself. He's an athlete. He was preparing for his next boxing match. So he's like, what are the chances of me, as someone who is looking after my health? I'm already vaccinated. He's young. He's not that old, in terms of the people who are typically hospitalized, which are usually people who are in their above 60. We can comfortably say most of the people who get hospitalized are above 60. Usually it's around like 60s and 70s up into the 80s. But for a man like him to be hospitalized, of course, and that's what's going through his mind.
This really, really kicked my ass.
Now it's basically a bit of his testimony and talking about, he's kind of confused about why, as he says here, he says, wanted you to hear directly from me that despite being fully vaccinated, he says, I have contracted COVID. I am not going to be able to fight next weekend. He says, preparing for this comeback has been everything to me over the last months. And I want to thank everyone for their tremendous support. And of course, we're hoping that Oscar De La Hoya, of course, does recover. But it just goes to show, and you can read through these chats. Of course, I'll post the link for it. And you read through some of the comments. And it's funny because many of these same commenters that are like pro-jab, all of them say pretty much the same thing. That is, oh, no one said that you weren't going to get it. And it was like, well, no. The FDA said that you weren't going to get it. 91% chance of you not getting it. And so if even your average kind of lefty individual has come to understand, well, really the only thing that's going to happen is that it's supposed to reduce your symptoms, then that kind of throws out the whole stop the spread. If the only thing that most of these people have come to understand, because this is now, like I've said, this is the new argument, is that no, you're not. It's not that you're not going to get it. It's that you're going to have all these. You're going to have mild symptoms. You're going to decrease the workload on nurses like myself, and that you're not going to get into the hospital. You're not going to have these severe cases where you end up on a ventilator, you end up requiring oxygen, etc. Well, if that's the case, then the only one who is assuming the risk of me choosing not to take it is me, right? Because if you're already admitting, at least you read some of these, what is this, 13,000 likes, is quite a few comments in this little thread. And for what most of these people have come to understand is that really what's going to happen is that you're just not going to have this, you still can catch it, you still can spread it. I mean, even Dr. Fauci has said that. So then why are people so concerned whether I take it? Because then I'm the one who is assuming all of the risk, right? And so taking a look at what even some doctors are saying, you've got Dr. David Abbasi, who's an orthopedic sports surgeon for pro MMA and UFC, right? So even he has come to the understanding that, as he says here, says getting vaccinated doesn't necessarily prevent you from getting COVID. I was just like, whoa, this is misinformation. The CDC, the FDA has basically said you have a 91% chance of not contracting the disease. And that's on top of, not talking about your own immune system, your age, your health. It was just like this blanket statement, like whoever takes it, you've got this 91% efficacy, of not contracting the disease. But then you've got these other doctors here that come out and say getting vaccinated helps prevent serious COVID symptoms and complications such as respiratory compromise, hospitalization, ICU stays. He's on a telemetry unit. So he's getting what they refer to as advanced monitoring on a tele unit. And he goes on to say, it says ICU stays, need for a ventilator, and ultimately death. And then even some of the normal people down here, where he goes on to say, getting COVID doesn't prevent infection, Oscar. He says, might decrease it, but it doesn't prevent it. What it does prevent is you potentially dying. And again, another person right here says vaccinated does not prevent COVID. It reduces serious illness, i.e., notice no oxygen required. I'm an RN, and the first sign of serious illness is the necessity of oxygen use. And again, you've got Miss Tina Winston, RN, and of course Dr. David Abbasi, who are both medical personnel, who are saying, well, what it doesn't stop you from contracting disease, it stops you from having serious illness. Then why are you firing and telling all these nurses and other medical workers that if you don't take it, well, then you can't come to work? Right? It just doesn't make any sense that this is the narrative. And as you can see, like I said in a previous video, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. And this was an old school nursery rhyme that many of us learned a very long time ago, that it's better to tell the truth, to be upfront, because then now you have to start telling all these different lies, and then you end up getting caught here, and then the narrative has to change. And that's basically what many individuals are now coming to realize. You had Israel at the very beginning, and they were like, this is it, this is going to stamp it out, everybody's going to get it, we're going to stop the spread, everybody's going to get vaccinated. And then everybody got vaccinated, and then you see the prime minister pointing, oh, you guys, you got double jabbed, you didn't get your third jab, you didn't get your third dose, you didn't get your fourth dose or your fifth dose, and so you're the ones who are spreading it, right? This is basically where we're at currently. And it kind of just goes to show you that as the narrative changes, that no one is going to admit that perhaps they were misled. Of course, the average normie lefty is going to defend the state to the bitter end.